Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you're in. Be sure and like and subscribe the XRP Army News channel. And today, I'm not sure I've been as excited to talk to anyone that I've interviewed so far as much as I am Darren, because his videos have really been kind of the ones that I really enjoy watching the most, because number one, he's a very talented video maker. And number two, all of his information is very factual and practical. And so it's a great pleasure for me to be able to introduce to everyone Darren Moore Jr. So Darren, would you like to say hello and introduce yourself?
Hi, Scott. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. It's I'm Fame21 More. I'm on Twitter and YouTube. I like to make XRP videos and kind of just show what the elitist plan is, what the elites are up to, their banking conferences, and what's being said. And I like to emphasize what they're secretly doing, but in plain sight.
And so, Darren, when you first ran across Ripple, was it the first crypto that you ran into?
No, I originally got into Bitcoin first, and I just put some money on it, thinking just kind of as a bet. And as Bitcoin rose in price, I started really getting into crypto, and I started digging into all the cryptos and all the altcoins. And the more that I learned about XRP, the more bullish I was on Ripple.
And so you didn't have any bad feelings at all when you began to look into Ripple and XRP about it being a banker's coin? That didn't throw you off at all?
No, my motives aren't the libertarian, let's take down the system. I'm more about money. I want to make money with this. I don't really care that much. I don't think the libertarian way is going to win in the long run. You don't have a shot. So I'd rather just make money and preserve wealth with the best way I can. And analyzing Ripple and XRP, I think that's my best shot.
Well, and Darren, having said that, on the other end of it, are you concerned at all about the fact that we're going to a cashless society, about the fact that everything will be tracked? I mean, do you have any personal views about those personal freedoms being taken away, or are you like me, that they're not really going to take my opinion about what they're going to do? They're going to do what they're going to do. And if I can profit off of it monetarily, that's what I'm interested in the most.
Correct. I am concerned. I'm concerned about humanity, but there's only so much that I'm going to be able to do. And that's to spread awareness before it happens. And that's all I can do. I got to understand what's in my power and what's outside of my power. And I do the things that are in my power, but I don't think there's anything going to stop this. And the other part of this is the system is so bad right now. We're so overinflated with debt that they really don't have any other options. And crashing society as a whole would be worse than anything. So even if we took the power back from the banks, what's coming our way is going to be biblical.
I don't think that's an understatement. That's the thing that scares me. So what you're telling me is the fact that the derivative market has grown from between 545 trillion and 1.2 quadrillion might just be a problem they can't work their way out of?
Yeah, they can't work their way out of a lot of these problems except to reset. And that's exactly what they're doing. And I'm going to profit off of it. Hopefully everyone else will too. Everyone else can see what's coming and protect themselves before it's too late. I think the average person that has no idea what's that's happening right now, I don't think that they're gonna have a good quality of life after everything's said and done. Well, but they might have a shot with crypto assets. They might have a shot with the system stabilized with crypto assets. So It's going to be a lower level of life, but it'll still be life, versus if the whole system implodes and no crypto assets and we're back to gold and silver standard bartering, a lot of people are going to suffer with that one.
Well, and do you feel like that they've kind of had an idea all along of what they've been planning, and that XRP and Ripple have been a part of that plan all along?
Of course, there's they're not stupid. They've spent a lot of time and energy trying to figure this one out. They know that they've painted themselves into a corner. They know the consequences of their actions, but they just don't have any outs. And resetting the system to a crypto, gold, whatever standard is an out for them. So they're able to do that, and they're going to keep the public blind so they don't panic until it's time.
So do you believe that technological advances that the distributed ledger technology brought to the table and the protocol, with it being interoperable, is technologically advanced over proof of work? Because I see Bitcoin as a problem just because of the technology, besides the fact that I don't believe that Trump and any of the other democracies on the planet are going to allow Bitcoin to be massively adopted if 65% of it is mined in China.
Correct. I mean, right now, Bitcoin's energy consumption, that they have an agenda to go to a green economy. They're trying to roll out fossil fuels. They're trying to take away energy consumption. Bitcoin uses a tremendous amount of electric. I don't see that happening. I hope it does. I like Bitcoin. I like the idea of proof of work. I just don't see that happening. So I think consensus is where this is headed. Where the future is headed is consensus. Even R3 and the other platforms, they're all using consensus. They're not using proof of work. They're not using proof of stake. They're using consensus. So that's where it's headed. I hope that some of these proof of work coins come out on top, because I do like them.
Well, but do you think that the biggest obstacle that we're at right now, Darren, do you think that that's regulatory clarity, or do you think that they're just holding off on clarifying everything until they get all of their ducks in a row?
I think you're going to see a crisis, and everything's going to happen really quickly. Laws, regulation, everything's going to happen in the blink of an eye. It's going to be some type of crisis that's going to come to the surface, probably a cybersecurity crisis. There's going to be a lot of panic, and people are going to accept anything. And their solution is going to be a blockchain-based system. And it's not just going to be XRP, it's going to be the Internet of Values just going to suddenly pop up. And they had a plan from the very beginning. There's an intelligence behind everything that's going on, and the sequence of events proves that. It's not a coincidence that these things are happening the way that they're happening.
And do you feel, I mean, recently one of the things that I've come into play in what I've been seeing is Elon Musk and Starlink. Do you believe that they're looking to put basically the financial system up in space so an EMP can't knock out our financial world?
I haven't really looked into that much, but I think all tech's going to be integrated. They're talking about the fourth industrial revolution, so all the advancements in technologies are going to be one giant platform that's all working together. So whatever we're seeing with tech, there's a game plan at the end of it, and whatever Elon's up to, Starlink's up to, I think that's definitely going to be a part of it. There's also talk about trying to bring internet access to every nation in the world, so the unbanked now have internet access. So the more that's done with satellites, the more that we evolve technologically speaking, the more control that they will have, and the more participation in the economy that everybody will have.
Well, and the idea that I heard the other day was that an EMP, which is an electromagnetic pulse, let's just say, and that Russia decided to do an attack on America like that. They put that up in space and set that thing off, and then it screws up our whole electrical grid. And what the Starlink system is supposed to alleviate is the availability for anybody to mess with that. So that saves us by having everything up there, and then you put nodes on all of the satellites, and then everything is safe from human destruction. Is what I heard, the way I heard it the other day. And I'm not really all that familiar yet with Starlink. That just kind of came into the conversation the conversations I've been having with people recently. But it sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, that does sound interesting. I think all the nations are agreeing on what's going to be fair moving forward. You know, it's like after World War II, we all agreed not to use nuclear weapons. I think this is the technology version of that, and the nations right now are agreeing on the terms of how we're going to progress. So a lot of the things that we see with Trump banning Yahweh and TikTok, I think these are part of those negotiations that are surfacing, but we don't have the full story. So we hear X, we hear Y, but we don't have the big picture yet.
Do you feel like that we might possibly be going to having the IMF being the lender of last resort, and them using the basket of the SDRs as the world currency? Do you think that's going that way? And were you impressed with the Ripple being mentioned in their latest document that the IMF had put out?
That's certainly one analysis that you could take, is that the IMF's going to issue SDRs and bail everybody out. And they very well could be using a Ripple-based solution to deliver the SDRs to central banks with XRP, right? So you got SDR bridged to the central banks with XRP. So that's certainly one possibility, and the involvement that Ripple has had with the IMF over the last years is quite. It's apparent that there's something definitely going on there. So I'm waiting for the next crisis, because I do think Ripple and the IMF have some type of bailout plan where XRP is going to be utilized. I didn't really get a chance to look deeply into that document that was posted. I know of it. I just haven't had a chance to read it thoroughly yet.
Well, do you feel like that the Christine Lagarde with the European Central Bank, do you believe that she's one of the big Ripple XRP fans? Do you believe that she is a believer?
Sure. I definitely think Christine Lagarde's is tied into all of this. She's definitely made comments not just about Ripple, but just all technology in general, and how she's trying to promote it as some benevolent technology that's going to help everyone. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. But I think there's sinister motives behind it. The ECB right now has TIPS, Target 2. That's all integrated with Ripple. There's something definitely going on there as well. I'm just waiting for the emergency. That's where I think this all comes into play. Is it's tied in everywhere. It's tied into all the central banks. I'm just waiting for them to turn it on.
Have you kept up with Crypto Eddie and with giving us really great reports about what's going on, Ripple and XRP in Japan? Do you feel like that is a major area that we'll see a lot of movement from?
Certainly, it's Crypto Eddie is doing a great job of keeping us up to date with all the advancements that's happening in Asia right now. But yeah, I do think that they have sort of a level playing field, that they've got their own walled garden over there. We're going to have our own walled garden. The ECB is going to have their walled garden. It's all going to be bridged together on an open platform. So I think when we see Project Ubin, we see Intheon, we see all these central bank projects bridged together, I think that's a network, and that's going to be a network on the Internet of Value. And yeah, it's just going to happen with trade and finance and everything.
It's all pretty exciting, isn't it? I'm not scared of it. I kind of like it. I mean, I'm 58, and about 35 years ago, Darren, I read a book about paradigm shifting, and it just captured my imagination. And ever since then, I've always been fascinated. Like when we had the tube television, and then a flat screen came out, and then I watched, how human beings would that they began to say, "Oh, they're too expensive. All those things will never work. I like my TV the way it is now." And then 3 years later, everybody's got one. Well, because it's better. And whether anybody likes it or not, the option that Ripple has with RippleNet and ODL is better than what Swift has. Do you agree with that?
I certainly agree with that, but I don't know about how they're going to roll this out with changing the whole economy. I think that it's not going to go peacefully and organized. They're gonna scare everyone to do that. I think it's gonna flip people's worlds upside down when that happens. So I see that the technology is superior, so I know the end result's going to be this technology implemented, but how they get to there could very well be devastating. I don't know how they're going to roll it out. Hopefully it comes out peacefully and does it in a well-organized way, but there's other possibilities that they can just flip everyone's world upside down, and then the dollar losing the world reserve status in that process, life as we know it in the States is going to turn upside down for a lot of people, which is another scary aspect of all of this.
Well, how do you feel about our stock market and the Fed continuing to try to prop it up? I know for me that I was watching actually Bix Weir last September 17th, and he called it. Look about what's getting ready to happen on the 19th, and that was when the Fed began their giving out money in the repo market or desk. And they put out $7 trillion since September 19th last year. And Darren, what is going to happen to our stock market if they don't put $7 trillion into it during the next 12 months?
That's why it's scary, right? All the debt supporting our life, we're benefiting from all this debt. When they just pull it from the equation, you're going to have a very different life. And it's super irresponsible that they're just dumping money the way that they are into everything, but they have no choice. And when it's finally done and it's finally they can't do it anymore, they can only reset. And hopefully it happens smoothly, but I'm preparing for the worst,
Well, and Darren, I hear what you're saying, but when I'm looking at it, I feel like that we're already about 95% digital anyway. I know I am. I carry maybe $10 or $15 worth of cash in my pocket, but every single thing else that I do, I use a debit card. I've got a couple of credit cards, but I don't use them very often. But when debit cards first came out, I grabbed them, and I didn't want to have cash, even early on when the first debit cards came out, because I can lose cash and I'm just out of luck. But if I lose my debit card, and even if somebody steals it and uses it, as long as I report it to my credit card or debit card bank, they'll credit me if somebody fraudulently used it. but cash, you lose and you lose. So, I mean, is it really going to be that much in your mind of a switch over if we're almost all digital now anyway?
Well, it's the other aspects, is like the conditioning of money, right? If the central bank gives you money with an expiration date, or the money that you have can only be spent on this product, or it has to be spent on this, and then at the same time it's being watched every transaction that you do, that they can shut down your wallet at any time, that they can tax everything as you're going, right? So they can do unfair taxes. They can change the tax rates, and as your money dwindles away, they have complete control.
Well, and to hedge against that, then I would imagine that maybe some privacy coins, maybe Monero, or I'm not sure Cardano might fit into that. But do you see those as being a possibility? But are they even going to be allowing that, or will they regulate those types of things, those types of options away from us?
It's like the proof of work discussion we were saying earlier, is that I hope that proof of work works out, but the energy part of it, I'm not putting my money on it. I think it's going to be banned at one point, and the same thing with privacy coins. I think they're going to come down with an iron fist when the time is right. So I hope privacy coins stay alive, but I think at one point they'll get crushed by government.
And hear about this time, Brad Garlinghouse said that we were in a marathon and we were about in mile 3. Do you feel like the pandemic actually sped that up, or do you think they already kind of had a timeline, irregardless of the beer cold?
I think the pandemic is speeding everything up. Well, they're saying that the pandemic has sped everything up. So I think it's both. I think there was a timeline, and I think the pandemic surfaced because of the timeline, and now you're starting to see everything fall into place. I think this was all planned, and we're just watching it unfold. And I think there's more to come.
And do you see bad things happening in the mortgage situations in America with people that have been out of work for so long? And I really don't see that it's that much of a relief if you don't have to pay your mortgage for 3 months, but then you got to get caught up. And when people haven't been working. And then the other thing that is heartbreaking for me is I've been following it along very closely about what it looks like with the pensions in America. I mean, these people are likely to get wiped out in the pensions because the pension fund manager doesn't have anything that he can invest in that's bringing back the yield to be able to fund the pensions of all these people. I mean, with the economy being choked off, there's just a lot of disaster that I'm not sure a lot of people are really aware of.
No, I don't think that many people are aware of it either. With interest rates, right? As soon as hyperinflation starts to take hold, they've got to react to that, and that's spiking interest rates. When interest rates spike, the housing market stops. Period. That's what caused the 2008 financial crisis. It's a big deal. I think unemployment, that's why they're getting ready for digital wallets, so they could start giving you that conditional money where you have to spend it by a certain time. The only things that they can do is do negative interest rates, but if that's not sustainable. So the way that they would have to do that is with crypto assets and digital dollars. So they really have to upgrade this technology, or the interest rates are going to spike. And even with negative interest rates and digital dollars, there's a good chance that they have to spike interest rates regardless, and that's going to crush home building. That's a serious sector to crush.
Yeah, you got that right. Well, and do you feel like that the Digital Dollar Act and all of the things that are going on, and Tom Emmer the other day, I mean, do you feel the momentum? And I mean, God, when Brian Brooks came out and said that the banks can custody crypto assets, I mean, all of the news that I've seen in since last October, when Brad said we're in mile 3 in the marathon, I've not seen any. Now, you and I both have seen FUD, but I've never seen anything that really was really, absolutely negative that actually stuck. All the news has been for Ripple and XRP people has been overwhelmingly positive. Only thing that we can say is the price hasn't really moved all that much. But again, it seems like that all of the news just continues to be good, better. Have you seen it that way too?
Absolutely. And if you know, like we were saying earlier, if you know the end results, you know this technology is superior, know that this is the way that we're moving to, all of these things that are happening are falling in line with that. And I think that the price is suppressed because that's the end goal. They don't want anyone to realize what's happening before it happens. I mean, like you said, Brian Brooks, he's a Coinbase executive, is now as the currency of controller right now. That's quite the milestone, right? It's from people saying Bitcoin was a fraud, Bitcoin's rat poison, Bitcoin's all these horrible things. Our government is doing something completely different than what they're saying. The elites are doing something. They're saying one thing and doing the complete opposite. I mean, recently Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett's invested in all these banks that are using blockchain technology. Everyone believes everything Warren Buffett says because he's a billionaire. He must be right about something. But he said Bitcoin's rat poison, yet he's secretly investing in all blockchain-based leaders, banks that are leaders in blockchain. That's where he's putting his money. So they all know what's going on and they're acting accordingly. They just don't want us to know about it. Why would they?
Well, and yeah, I think Brian Brooks coming out and saying that the banks can now custody was one of the big game changers, at least in my mind recently. And do you believe now that we'll see more of the financial advisor types getting their clients to diversify into the digital assets now?
I think everything's being positioned for this huge event that's going to happen, and it's going to be, everyone's going to jump in at the same time. I don't think the financial advisors are necessarily involved with that, but once that happens, everything's going to change where the financial advisors are going to be telling their clients to invest in this, this, and this. It's going to happen like that, and it's going to be well organized.
And Darren, I know that you're a talented, video maker, filmmaker, and a researcher. And how much have you researched into the connection with Ripple and XRP and Bank of America? Do you feel like that there's a very solid connection there? Because I keep hearing about that, and how do you feel about it based on your research?
I don't understand why anyone would be saying anything negative about it. Bank of America has been in the global payment steering group since the very beginning, like 2016, I believe, off the top of my head. But I mean, then there's patents with Bank of America and XRP. There's constantly information being leaked about Bank of America. Bank of America's at swell events. I mean, some people can't see the forest for the trees, and when they can't see that, they like to state their opinions, and then there's a lot of ill-informed people out there that accept their opinions because they may be people in the community that seem smarter than other people. But I mean, this Bank of America, in my mind, it's pretty much known. No argument.
Do you think that they will? Do you think they're going to hold off and announce that after the event, or do you think that that I don't understand why they haven't said anything yet, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
They want to keep the price down, right? If everybody's if they're working on some macro event where it's going to change the world, they can't let anyone know this information. And Bank of America is tied in with all these central banks. You got Bank of America is part of the Federal Reserve. They're part of these central banks. They're the people that rule this world. And there's a lot of intelligence of how they're going to roll everything out. We know that they're working on it, but we just don't know the technicalities of when it comes out. So this is one of those things where you're not going to know anything until it's too late. The price is going to change instantaneously.
And do you, Darren, what's your feeling about the Goldman Sachs guy, the FX guy that just got hired at Ripple? Did you have any feelings about that?
I mean, all the insiders know what's going on, and they're jumping from sinking ships to the rising ship, right? most of Ripple's employees are high-level banking executives. They're people that know and that they're going to the right areas.
Do you see any other company out there or any other projects that you are as impressed with as Ripple? And again, I'm 98% of the crypto that I hold is XRP. I got some VeChain and I do have a little Bitcoin, but I am just blown away by the problem that Ripple set out to solve, and then the management team that they have, the technology that they have, and then the last part is the community of people that I've gotten to meet doing this. I mean, do you see anything else out there that you feel as strongly about as the whole enchilada that is Ripple and XRP?
There's certainly some good projects out there that I have my money in some other projects, but I believe Ripple is doing something on the macro level that the market cap is going to dwarf everything in crypto, except for maybe some of these smaller market cap coins that have real utility. I think that there's a possibility that the percentage wise on a lot of these really small market cap coins, Quant, for example, or Vector Space AI, might do very well because they just have a small market cap. But on the grand scheme of everything, I think XRP is going to be the most successful. So I have the majority of my money in XRP.
Well, and so do you see it deemed as a security? No, I don't. I meant as a currency. Do you see the possibility that it could be deemed a currency, or do you think it's going to be used as a bridge asset in the background?
I think they're going to come up with a different definition altogether and label XRP under that definition. I don't see them jamming it anywhere that it doesn't belong. I think they're just going to make something new up for it.
Do you think that Swift has any chance at all, or do you think they may adopt RippleNet and ODL, or do you think they're going to still try to fix their, is it GPI? Is that the name of what they have? That they're going to fix that?
Well, a Swift GPI is kind of how they already fixed Swift, right? So it's instant payments, but it's not instant settlement. I think Swift is gonna be the dollar settlement and the Internet of Value. I see it as one of the networks that you can go through if you want to use dollars to transact. I don't see the United States just bowing down and just letting this all happen. I think they're going to have some say in the Internet of Value, and Swift GPI is going to be one of the networks in the Internet of Value that uses dollars. So I do think that some of trade, global finance is going to run through Swift, but I see it as multiple hubs, right? So you have Google, you have Amazon, you have all these different hubs, but it's going to be in the Internet of Value, and Swift being one of those major hubs. But you'll be able to choose between Swift, RippleNet, or XYZ, or another platform.
Well, and that's one of the things that I'm not sure that a lot of people have kind of been able to grasp is XRP does not, and Ripple, they don't have to get 100% of the market. I mean,
no,
they don't have to be, like Evan Schwartz famously said, involved in all of the money. If they were a cross border remittance vehicle that was involved in all of the transactions, that would be fine. But even if they just captured 25% of the entire global monetary market, then the existing Ripple holders, where XRP holders, where we are right now, being in so early and have purchased XRP at such a low price, we've still got the opportunity to make some substantial gains. Not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but we got a pretty bright future based on the timing of where we are with Ripple and XRP. Would you agree with that?
Sure, I agree with that. We're at a $20 billion market cap, and what they're talking about is solving trillions and trillions of dollars worth of problems. So I think we're going to be fine with that aspect of it. I think it's People think that XRP is going to do everything. It's not going to do everything. This is a joint effort. There's more than just Ripple working on this. It's going to be a global platform, and Ripple's tied into it. Interledger is tied into it, but there's going to be a lot of winners out there.
Well, and again, .com boom, there's a lot of winners there too. And I believe that we're going to see a blockchain, like you said, another industrial revolution, the blockchain revolution. But I think it's going to be bigger because we're going to tie in the unbanked and have everybody with micropayments being able to be involved in the world economy. Do you think that the politics in America has anything to do with it? Do you think that Trump is involved with any of this stuff and they're trying to hold everything up until after the election? And because I know that if the economy flops before the election, I feel like that his likelihood of getting reelected is going to go way, way, way down. But I just don't know if you feel like he is involved with what's going on at all.
I think he's involved to some degree. I don't think that it all depends on him, but I think what he's doing with the trade war is he's trying to negotiate, what we will have after post Internet of Value, and where will we have the technology? Where will they have the technology? And I think this is going to happen before the election. I don't know if there's a good chance Trump will still win, even if they do crash the economy. So, but I do think the crash is coming before the election, and I think to a certain degree he's playing ball with everyone. So I don't think that he's hated by the rest of the globalists. I think he's kind of accepted because, quite frankly, he's doing a good job driving stocks way up, making the debt as high as possible, and that's what they want. They want the debt as high as possible so they can reset. And not only that, to use the debt towards this digital infrastructure, they're going to spend all of that money in upgrading the system. That's what's happening. So just because the economy crashes does not necessarily mean he doesn't get elected.
And any feelings at all about Judy Shelton, pro or con? Do you think she helps the blockchain and digital currency revolution if she is goes on and gets approved fully in the Fed?
Sure, it's like Brian Brooks, right? We know the end results, and everybody that's being positioned in the right place is pro blockchain, and Judy Shelton's one of those people.
Yeah, crypto. Judy, we got crypto comptroller. It just seems like everything's falling into place. I'm like I said, I'm 58. I'm more excited than at any time I've ever been in my entire life. And I know that there are a lot of bad things that are going on right now, but a lot of people are feeling some pain, and I think that we've got some more pain coming up. But I think on the other end of that, we're all going to be, the whole planet is going to be better off. At least I think that way. So I don't know if too many of the personal freedoms are taken away, then I might have to eat those words. So, and Darren, I believe that you had mentioned that you were somewhere in Texas. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
And were you aware that the finest barbecue in the history of the world actually resides in North Carolina?
Do you think so? When I go to South Carolina, seems too sweet to me, but I like Texas barbecue sauce. It's a little bit tangier than South Carolina. It's too sweet. I've never been to North Carolina though.
We've got Carolina barbecue vinegar based, and they make the greatest barbecue slaw, and that really makes the sandwich. So I just whenever I meet a new friend from Texas, I always make sure and have the barbecue discussion. And I'm a huge Cowboys fan. So I've been a Dallas Cowboy fan since I was in elementary school. My dad was a Redskins fan. And so we had that rivalry growing up. And so go Cowboy. How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, I'm a huge nerd. I don't really watch sports, so.
That's okay. No problem. So timeline wise, I guess you just kind of feel like that there's an event that's getting ready to come up, but you feel like that it's sooner rather than later.
I think by January 2021, something's going to happen. The Great Reset.
Great. I'm all for it. All right. So, Darren, as we wind down, a couple of things that I ask everybody. Number one, I like to pre-invite you to come back and further our discussion. I'm looking to be able to make connections with like-minded people in our XRP community. So when the Great Reset happens and we end up having some wealth, if there are things that we might like to look into together, like if they tokenize real estate, if you've got some great real estate, excuse me, in Texas that we could tokenize together, if we had 100 or 200 of us that connected together, we could probably further our friendships and relationships together after we moon. So
Sure.
I'd like to pre-invite you to come back later so we can kind of compare and contrast what's happened, where we are today, August 22nd, 2020, and what's happened a month from now. And just, I'd like to continue the conversation, number one. And number two, what would you say to anyone that I'm looking to invite to come on to have a friendly conversation with me? We've got a lot of people covering news, and you're one of the best. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to be able to get to know you better. But would you like to see other people in the community come on and be able to share what their experience is all about?
Yeah, well, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like my show. Yeah, I like the interviews. They're a nice touch versus some of the other things that are going on. It's just a nice touch to hear where people come from, their perspective on everything, and sometimes different perspectives can change your perspective, right? Or just alter it a little bit, and that's what you may need to see clearly.
And if a person is new, later today, I'm actually having another interview with a gentleman. He's actually from Texas as well. And he's only been in our crypto world since May. But from a new person to crypto and his story, and then someone like maybe King Solomon, who's been in it and doing great videos as well. Would you like to see a variety of different people in our community come on and be interviewed so we can hear a variety of different experiences?
Sure. That's the best way to do it, is just every angle. Every angle covers the whole picture.
Well, great. All right. Well, Darren, I'd like to thank you again. When I first started watching your videos, you were one of the people, again, because of the way that you're putting your videos out together. I love the visual quality that you create with your work. And then I love your matter of fact and research detailed information of the way that you put your content out. And so big, big, big ups to you in the quality of the work that you're putting out for everybody. You're very, very, very high on my list of my favorite content creators in our community. And I just wanted to make sure that I did it the best I could to compliment you as much as I can on the quality of your work. And every person watching this, if you are not following Darren, and I'm going to put a link to his channel in the description of this video. If you guys are not following him, you are doing a tremendous disservice to yourself, because he's one of the best that we've got. So please do yourself a favor. If you're not following Darren, make sure that you do that. As you're watching this video, just pause it and go find his channel, or look at the link in the description of this video and go give him a subscribe and follow him on Twitter as well.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate the kind words. I'm glad you enjoy my work. One of the inspirations was Crypto Bear. Remember his videos? He also did really good work, so he was an inspiration.
Well, I will also take a second to say that, look, we've got a wide variety of different video makers and content creators in our community. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm pretty agnostic. I love them all. And I know that we've got some more people that may come across as from more on the hypey side. And then I know we've got some other people that come like BC Backer that are doing a little bit more of the technical side. And, you know, I love all of them. I mean, I'm a content gobbler for everything XRP and Ripple, and I think we've got the greatest community in crypto, and I think we've got the greatest assortment of content creators. And what I'm looking to do is I'm trying to be able to tell. To be the person that tells everybody's story in the community, because I believe that every XRP Army story matters. So I'm trying to be the one that helps everyone get their story told.
You're doing a great job, Scott.
All right. Well, I appreciate that very much, Darren, and I look forward to continuing our conversation. And I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And one day when we meet, I'll make sure and bring some Carolina barbecue so you can try that out.
Oh, you try real barbecue, and I haven't had a real barbecue yet.
Not yet. Oh, one last thing. Any Naga Bo sightings? Because when I interviewed Naga Bo, I found out that he lives in Texas as well. Have you had a recent Naga Bo sighting?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, just checking. Be on the lookout, because he's somewhere in Texas looking for that bank money.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
All right, you take care, Darren. And again, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Scott. Have a good day, sir.
Okay, you too. Take care.